Hello students, in today's video we are going to solve another problem on consolidated balance sheet. So let us go through the problem first. The balance sheets of H Limited and S Limited as on 31st March 2015 were as follows. So share capital, shares are of rupees 10 each, share capital of H Limited is 5 lakhs and that of S Limited it is 2,50,000. Then you have reserves and surplus. General reserve of H Limited is 60,000 and that of S Limited is 50,000. Profit and loss account H Limited 30,000 and S Limited 40,000. Then you have trade payables, in that you have creditors 20,000 for H Limited, S Limited 15,000. Bills payable for H Limited is 10,000 and that of S Limited 25,000. Let us look at the assets. Tangible fixed assets are 2 lakh for H Limited and 1,50,000 for S Limited. Non-current investment, here you can see note number 4. In 20,000 shares of S Limited at cost, 2,50,000. Then in government securities, 80,000 is the investment made by S Limited. Then you have stock, 70,000 for H Limited and 75,000 for S Limited. Trade receivables, note number 5 it is. Debtors 40,000 for H Limited and for S Limited 35,000. Bills receivable 15,000 each. Then cash you have 45,000 and 25,000. So this is the information given in the balance sheet. Further adjustments are given. When H Limited acquired the shares in S Limited, the latter had 20,000 and 50,000 to the credit of general reserve and profit and loss account respectively. So this means that when H Limited acquired shares in S Limited, that is before acquisition, the general reserve was 20,000 and profit and loss account was 15,000. So this is information regarding pre-acquisition reserve and pre-acquisition profit. Next, bills payable of S Limited includes 5,000 accepted in the favor of H Limited. So these are intercompany bills which are to be eliminated by passing entry in the balance sheet. Then the debtors of H Limited included rupees 2,500 due from S Limited. So these are intercompany debtors and creditors. Even this have to be eliminated. This we will do it while preparing the balance sheet. Then the stock of S Limited included rupees 12,000 supplied by H Limited at cost plus 20,000. Now here the stock of S Limited includes 12,000 rupees worth goods which are purchased from H Limited. Now when the balance sheets of both the company are going to be shown together, so we have to eliminate the profit which is included in the stock, because see, when the goods are sold, they're always sold at a profit. No company sells the goods at cost price. Okay, so now when the stock of both the companies is going to come together, so we have to eliminate the profit which will not be realized by H Limited, because stock will become 1. So we have to eliminate that. So we will pass a note for that later while preparing the balance sheet. Okay, so they've asked you to prepare consolidated balance sheet of H Limited with its subsidiary S Limited. So first we have to calculate minority interest, and then we will start with further calculations of the balance sheet. So let's start with the calculation of minority interest. Now for minority interest, first we have to find out the ratio of holding company and the remaining shareholders. So let us see how much are the shares of S Limited. Now here you can see share capital of S Limited is 2,50,000 and shares are of rupees 10 each. So the total shares of S Limited are 25,000 shares. Now out of that, here you can see investment is made in 20,000 shares of S Limited. So out of 25,000, 20,000 shares are acquired by H Limited. So remaining 5,000 shares are acquired by other shareholders. So 20,000 is to 5,000. So when you simplify, you will get the ratio, and the ratio will be 4:1. So that we will write it here. I hope you have understood this. We have just taken the shares which are acquired by the holding company and remaining shareholders. 20,000 is to 5,000. If you simplify, you will get this ratio, that is 4:1. So share capital, reserves and profit and loss will be divided amongst the holding company and remaining shareholders in this ratio. So what is the share capital of S Limited? It is 2,50,000. So 2,50,000 is to be divided between holding company. So 2,50,000 into 4 divided by 5, that will be 2 lakh. Then for remaining shareholders, 2,50,000 into 1 divided by 5, that will be 50,000. Now next is general reserve. Now to identify what is pre-acquisition reserve and post-acquisition reserve, date of purchase of shares is important, but in this problem no such information is given. But look at this adjustment. It says when H Limited acquired the shares in S Limited, the latter had 20,000 and 50,000 to the credit of general reserve and profit and loss account. So when the shares were acquired, the general reserve was of 15,000 and profit and loss account, general reserve was 20,000 and profit and loss account was having 15,000 balance. So this is your pre-acquisition reserve and profit. So what is our pre-acquisition reserve? It is 20,000. So we have to take it here, 20,000. So this will be divided between holding company and remaining shareholders. So 20,000 into 4 divided by 5, that will be 16,000. And remaining shareholders, 20,000 into 1 divided by 5, that will be 4,000. Now we have to calculate post-acquisition reserve. So total general reserve of S Limited is 50,000. Out of that, 20,000 is pre-acquisition reserve. So remaining will be post-acquisition reserve. So total is 50,000. Here you can see general reserve of S Limited is 50,000. From that we will minus this pre-acquisition reserve, which is 20,000. So remaining will be your post-acquisition reserve, which is 30,000. Now this 30,000 is to be divided between holding company and remaining shareholders. So 30,000 into 4 divided by 5, that will be 24,000. And for remaining shareholders, 30,000 into 1 divided by 5, that will be 6,000. So I hope these calculations are clear. Now similarly, we have to take pre-acquisition surplus or profit. So the amount to the credit of profit and loss account while acquisition was 15,000. So our pre-acquisition profit is 15,000. So this has to be divided between holding company and remaining shareholders. So 15,000 into 4 divided by 5, that will be 12,000. And for remaining shareholders, 15,000 into 1 divided by 5, that will be 3,000. Now we have to identify what is our post-acquisition profit. So total profit of S Limited is 40,000. Out of that, 15,000 is pre-acquisition profit. So remaining will be the post-acquisition profit. So 40,000 minus 15,000. So that will be 25,000, right? So this 25,000 we have to divide it between holding company and remaining shareholders. So 25,000 into 4 divided by 5, that will be 20,000. And for remaining shareholders, 25,000 into 1 divided by 5, that will be 5,000. Okay, so we have taken general reserve, share capital and profit. Now let us make the total of all the columns. So total of the first column will be 3,40,000. The total of holding company is 2,72,000 and our minority interest is 68,000. So we are done with the first step, that is to calculate minority interest. Now the second thing that we have to calculate is cost of control, that is whether it is goodwill or capital reserve. For that we have to take cost of acquisition, from that we have to minus the face value. Cost of acquisition is given here in non-current investment. So here in 20,000 shares of S Limited. So this 20,000 shares in S Limited are acquired at rupees 2,50,000. So we have to take it here, 2,50,000 and less face value of shares. Now shares acquired are 20,000. Face value of share is 10. You can write it in the bracket like this, 20,000 into 10. So that will be 2 lakh rupees. Okay. So cost of acquisition is more than the face value of shares. So that will be goodwill, which is 50,000. Okay. Now next step is to calculate capital reserve. For capital reserve, we have to take pre-acquisition reserve portion of H Limited and pre-acquisition portion of H Limited in profit. So pre-acquisition reserve portion of H Limited is 16,000 and pre-acquisition surplus portion of H Limited is 12,000. Here you can see. Okay. So total will be 28,000. This is our capital reserve. So the next step is to calculate goodwill or capital reserve that will be shown in the balance sheet. So goodwill, as you have calculated above, is 50,000 and capital reserve, as we have calculated above, is 28,000. So naturally goodwill is more than capital reserve. So you will have net goodwill. So the net goodwill that will be shown in the balance sheet is 22,000. Okay. So we are done with this regular calculations of minority interest and goodwill or capital reserve that will be shown in the balance sheet. Now we have to pass one more note. Now this working note will be for the unrealized profit that is included in the stock of S Limited. So just look at this. The stock of S Limited included rupees 12,000 supplied by H Limited at cost plus 20%. So let us pass a working note for. Now the stock of HS Limited includes 12,000 which is supplied by H Limited at cost plus 20%. That means if the cost is 100, then the profit will be 20 and the selling price will be 120. Okay. So what we can do here is you can have calculations like this for your understanding. So for our understanding, we can have it like this. If the selling price is 120, then the profit is 20. So if the selling price of the goods was 12,000, then how much was the profit included in that? So our unrealized profit will be 12,000 into 20. Okay, this we can put it in the bracket, divided by 120. So 12,000 into 20 divided by 120. So you will get your unrealized profit as 2,000. So this we have to eliminate from the stock. I hope these calculations are clear. I just explain it once again. See, the stock of S Limited included 12,000 supplied by H Limited at cost plus 20%. So if the cost price is 100, then the profit is 20. So the selling price will be 120. So if the selling price is 120, profit is 20. So now the stock is 12,000. That means this is the selling price of the goods. So how much profit does it include? That we have to find out. So cross multiply, you will get your unrealized profit, which is 2,000. Okay. So we are done with passing with preparing all the working notes. Now let us prepare the consolidated balance sheet. So this is our format of consolidated balance sheet. So let us start with share capital. Now remember, while preparing the balance sheet, we consider only the share capital of holding company. So here it is shares of rupees 10, share capital is 5 lakh. So same we will write it in our working note. So here in the bracket we can write shares of rupees 10 each. Okay, amount is 5 lakhs. Okay, so same will be shown in the balance sheet. Share capital note number 1, amount is 5 lakhs. Okay, so we are done with the first note. Now second note is for reserves and surplus. Now as per our working note, we will show goodwill. So capital reserve is nil. So in our working note here, as per our working note, capital reserve is nil. But we have to take general reserve and profit and loss account. So let us see what is the general reserve of H Limited. So general reserve given of H Limited is 60,000. So we will write it in the note. General reserve of H Limited 60,000. Okay, then S Limited, we have to take only post acquisition portion of H Limited. So from our minority chart here, post acquisition portion of H Limited is to be taken, that is 24,000. So we will take it here 24,000. Okay, so together this will be shown in the balance sheet, which is 84,000. Okay, then profit and loss account. Let us see what is the profit of H Limited given in the problem. Profit of H Limited is 30,000 and you have to take post acquisition profit of H Limited 20,000. So here in the working note we will write profit of H Limited as given in the balance sheet is 30,000 and profit post acquisition profit of H Limited is 20,000, and from this we have to minus unrealized profit that we have calculated just now. So our unrealized profit is 2,000. So this two we have to add, that will be 50,000. From 50,000 we have to minus 2,000. So our total profit that will be shown in the balance sheet will be 48,000. Okay, so total reserves and surplus that will be shown in the balance sheet will be 84,000 plus 48,000, that is 1,32,000. So in the balance sheet, reserves and surplus note number 2, amount will be 1,32,000. Okay, next thing that we have to show is minority interest. So total minority interest is 68,000. So this we will show it in the consolidated balance sheet, 68,000. Next item in the balance sheet is trade payables. So in trade payables, let us see what is the information that is given to us in the balance sheet. Now trade payables, you have creditors 20,000 of H Limited and of S Limited 15,000, but you also have the debtors of H Limited which include 2,500 which is due from S Limited. So this we have to eliminate. First we have to take creditors 20,000 and 15,000. From that we have to minus this intercompany holdings which is 2,500. So let us pass a note for this in the balance sheet. Note number 3, creditors. Creditors of H Limited are 20,000 and that of S Limited there are 15,000. From that you have to minus intercompany holdings which is 2,500. Okay, so the total creditors that will be shown in the balance sheet will be 32,500. Next you have is bills payable. So let us look at the bills payable that is given in the problem. So bills payable is 10,000 and 25,000, and you have intercompany bills of 5,000. So you have to add 10,000 and 25,000. From that you have to eliminate this intercompany bills of 5,000. So we will write it in the same working note, trade payables, in that bills payable bills payable of H Limited is 10,000, and that of S Limited it is 25,000, and the intercompany bills are 5,000. So this you have to minus actually. Okay. So the total of bills payable that will be shown in the balance sheet is 30,000, and total trade receivables to be shown in the balance sheet will be 62,500. So in the balance sheet, note number 3, trade payables amount is 62,500. Okay. So we are done with the liability side. Now let us pass the note for the assets. So you have tangible fixed assets. So let us look at the tangible fixed assets given in the problem. So tangible fixed assets for H Limited it is 2 lakh, and for S Limited it is 1,50,000. There are no adjustment for the assets. So we will take it as it is. Note number 4, tangible fixed asset H Limited it is 2 lakh, and for S Limited it is 1,50,000. So total assets that will be shown in the balance sheet will be 3,50,000. So in the balance sheet, tangible fixed asset, note number 4, amount will be 3,50,000. Next, intangible fixed asset. So intangible fixed asset, goodwill, as per our working note here it is 22,000. So we have to write it here. Intangible asset, goodwill, as per our working note it is 22,000. So same will be the total of the goodwill. So in the balance sheet here, intangible assets, note number 5, amount is 22,000. Now next you have is non-current investment. So let us look at the investment given in the problem. Here you can see non-current investment in 20,000 shares. So this will not be considered, but in government securities, the investment made by S Limited is to be considered. So let us take it in the balance sheet. Note number 6, in government securities only of S Limited, we can write it directly, that is 80,000. Same total will appear in the balance sheet, that is 80,000. So in the balance sheet, note number 6, non-current investment amount is 80,000. Now the next item in the balance sheet is inventories, that is stock. So let's look at the stock of both the companies. So stock given is 70,000 and 75,000, and from this we have to minus the unrealized profit, which is 2,000. So let us show this in our notes to the balance sheet. So inventories of H Limited it is 70,000, and that of S Limited it is 75,000. From this we have to minus the unrealized profit, which is 2,000. Okay, so the amount of stock that will be shown in the balance sheet will be 1,43,000. Okay, so total is 1,43,000. So here we will take inventories, note number 7, amount is 1,43,000. Next item in the balance sheet is trade receivables. So let's look at the trade receivables that is given in the problem. So trade receivables, in that you have debtors 40,000 and 35,000. From that you have to eliminate the debtors of H Limited, intercompany debtors and creditors, 2,500. So 40,000 plus 35,000 minus 2,500. So we will show this in our notes to the balance sheet. Note number 8, debtors of H Limited, which is 40,000, debtors of S Limited 35,000, and intercompany dues 2,500. So the amount of debtors that is to be shown in the balance sheet will be 72,500. Now similarly, we will pass the note for bills payable. So let us look at the bills payable that is given in the problem. Bills receivables, which is 15,000 for both the companies. From this we have to minus intercompany bills, that is 5,000. So bills receivables for H Limited it is 15,000 and for S Limited it is 15,000, and the intercompany bills are 5,000. So the amount that will be shown in the balance sheet will be 25,000. So total trade receivables that will be shown in the balance sheet will be 97,500. So let us show it here. Trade receivables, note number 8, amount will be 97,500. So the last item in the balance sheet is cash and cash equivalents. So let us look at the cash that is given in the problem. So cash for H Limited is 45,000 and for S Limited it is 25,000. So this will be shown as it is 45,000 and 25,000. So the last note to our balance sheet, note number 9. So cash of H Limited is 45,000 and that of S Limited it is 25,000. So total 70,000 will be shown in the balance sheet. So note number 9, amount is 70,000. So we are done with all the items of assets and liabilities. Now let us make the total of the balance sheet. So the total of the liability side is 7,62,500 and the total of asset side also is the same, that is 7,62,500. So our balance sheet is tallying. So this is how you prepare consolidated balance sheet. I hope you have understood the problem. With this, I conclude for today. Thank you.